Word insane.
Insane. Oh my God.
In a word, insane.
That was, in a word, Critical Darlings.
Thank
everybody.
you to the fan who sent in that song, making an original a cappella cover of Critical
Darlings
theme song.
Hit it. Yes. Thank you to one H Styles for that. They wanted to remain anonymous.
And the podcast starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, Max.
Hey,
how's
Clayton.
it going?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing... I know you said you were doing good. I don't mean to one-up you. I'm doing swell.
You're doing swell.
I'm doing swell.
Well, fuck you, too.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Welcome to the first and only
Critical
100th episode of
Critical Darlings.
Zing, 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 zing. The podcast where me, Sir Maxim, the eclectic drag king you can see crawling about in the sewers on 4th Street, Red River. Maybe you can even find him here in this house on Outfitter Drive. Maybe we shouldn't say that. You can find me every single Saturday at 7 p.m.
We definitely shouldn't say that.
7 p.m. at Oil Can Harry's, or you can find me Sundays at 6 p.m. at Oil Can Harry's. I'm always damn there. Throughout the week, I have multiple gigs going over here, going over there. Maybe I'm at Rain. Maybe I'm at Swan Dive. Maybe I'm at Cheer Up Charlie's. I'm always there. We love it there. Shout out to Maggie. Love you over there, y'all. But you can find me kind of around town, going here, going there, performing my heart out and meeting the people who I am the king of, because they did not elect me to be their king. I chose to become their king, but I am the people's king after all. I have to deliver what they desire because my name is the runner-up of Grackle Games Cycle 4 and performer at ACL, Sir Maxim, babe.
And I'm Clayton.
And this is Critical Darlings. This podcast where we
talk about movies.
We talk about movies. Bad movies.
We talk about bad movies.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Sometimes we think we're going to talk about a bad movie and we actually like it.
Love the movie.
Sometimes we talk about a good movie on purpose.
Exactly.
Sometimes we talk about a movie because a lot of people think it's bad, but we actually already think it's good. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of layers to this.
Too.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of people think a movie's good, but we come in and we say it's bad.
It's bad.
Sometimes our friend tells us that they want to watch a movie with us that we've never heard of, and then we watch that.
Sometimes your friend, not your friend, our friend, sometimes a specific friend actually says that if I like one movie, I should watch another movie because that other movie is like even better than that first movie. And so you watch the second movie because you like the first movie and you think the second movie is so bad and incomparable to the first movie that you're actually kind of insulted that someone would suggest that movie to you as something you would like. Normally people are like, oh, that's insulting. You would even think that. It was insulting that you think I would like Frances Ha. It's a bad movie.
Ooh, Garrett Buss is
Garrett
the guy's name.
Found dead.
What movie was he talking about originally? That he
Lady
said
Bird.
Like,
I said I like Lady Bird. He's like, well, if you like Lady Bird, you should watch Frances Ha.
Lady Bird? You got to watch Frances Ha.
And a lot of people say, and we'll talk about, I'm sure all of this, I'm sure, but a lot of people say Lady Bird maybe is kind of annoying, like the character. Maybe she's a bit annoying.
Yeah. I mean, she is. She's going through adolescence.
I think that's like the point. Like she matures over the course of the film. But I definitely understand how some people just don't like that. Mm-hmm. I just think Frances Ha, she never matures the whole time. Period.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Frances. Ha, ha,
ha. Anyway.
So, usually when we're sitting down and we're saying Critical Darlings,
we're kind
of here because we have a movie to talk about. We have a film even to talk about, but not this time. This time we are here because we have been doing this podcast after we record this for 100 episodes.
Say what the fuck with me on 3. 1, 2, 3.
What the fuck?
straight up what the fuck. Although we haven't recorded 100 episodes. We've
recorded
100.
far more than that due to the countless episodes that have been lost to time.
Lost media.
Probably like 4 times that's happened. It happened twice with Disaster movie.
Which was a fitting movie for that to happen to.
Yes, it was a disaster indeed.
Oh my God. Well, no, it's because Garrett, I'm sorry we keep pulling you back in here.
Garrett bust.
He wooed us with his eyes and his wiggling and gyrating hips to come and film in his podcast studio. Speaking of disaster movie,
which is, at this point, before we say this too much, is now a quite successful and well-functioning podcast studio. I think we were maybe sort of the guinea pigs.
We were like
for
the first podcast in that damn studio. They had no walls. It had no ceiling. Garrett was like the tech guy, like doing things. And he, remember we were at like the 40-minute mark of the hour-long episodes that we do. And he showed us, he was like the sound guy, and he was like, 5 minutes, like with his like hand, and we were like, okay, but like we couldn't like interrupt, like we weren't really referencing it. The point is, it's taken 100 episodes, but we're comfortable. We're here. We're in our bag.
We are finally ready to start doing a good podcast.
True.
But we've been having a great time for 100 episodes, and so what we're here to do today is talk about these past 99 episodes. Talk about the highs and lows,
and end with what the next 100
with
episodes
what the next
look
movie
like.
is. And I don't want to tease y'all too much, but the film that I'm going to announce at the end of this is going to feel like the culmination of these 100 episodes, I think.
I'm so fucking excited. By the way, what are you drinking?
Nothing.
Okay, well, I'm drinking electrolyte solution de electrolitos.
Okay.
In Spanish.
Don't let Pedialyte hear you say that.
I never would. That's a good point. I guess if I want to... Okay, well, listen. So I want to get sponsored by Pedialyte.
Max wants to be the next SNL cast member.
Yeah. And here's why I should be a contender. Oh, my God. Wow, that totally threw me off. Like, just even thinking about that. So I want to become a Pedialyte sponsor because I love Pedialyte. When I'm going from number to number in my shows, I need to stay active, hydrated, and I can't be thirsty. If I take a break, even for a second, I might be off my game, and I don't need to develop a headache when I'm doing cartwheels and handstands. Luckily, Pedialyte is there to save me. With 8 different flavors you can choose from, as well as it being a solution that you could use as a mixer with other ingredients for a healthy solution, get Electrolyte Solution from H-E-B or Pedialyte, whichever one sponsors me first, babe.
Yeah, and Pedialyte, just so you know, the clock is
ticking. But there are people out there who I've been in talks with who are telling me to make videos and TikToks kind of being like, you know, doing a makeup look inspired by Cherry Pedialyte, you know, so that I can kind of build up a resume and then show them, hey, look at me, you know, I'm doing free work. Just throw me a bone. Because think about that. Could you imagine that you're scrolling on Instagram and you see me, your good trusty friend, being like #ad in the Instagram bio and being like, ugh, I'm so thirsty. I would love Pedialyte. You know, it would be great.
Yeah, because Pedialyte, if you're listening, like, this is coming from me. I don't want to be sponsored.
No.
This is the other side of the desk. This is not the stance of Max Foster.
Yeah.
But I would say nobody wants to drink that shit. So, you know, find somebody cool to sponsor your product.
Yep.
And then maybe people will start coming in, because Max Foster actually genuinely is a user. He drinks it willingly. Even when he's not in pain. Even when he's not trying to fix his ailments. He'll drink it. Because he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah.
The podcast stopped recording.
Did it? No.
No? Okay, hold on. The screen froze. But it did not stop recording.
Even the laptop was too stunned to speak, mama.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I do think that Pedialyte could really gain something from doing this, because imagine like Pedialyte being like the drink of drag performers. Like, you know, because I was at the Grackle Games finale. I was on stage for literally 45 minutes, for almost probably an hour. Seriously. Literally on stage, beginning to end, 1 hour. And I was drinking Pedialyte on the corner of the stage because I needed the electrolytes, I needed the energy, I needed the love, babe. And I'm going to need it to talk about these 100 movies, Clayton. Let's get the show fucking
There were a bunch of bad ones. So I'm clearing a little bit of space just to make sure we have room for this whole episode.
Good. Clayton is actively preparing to record the podcast while the podcast is recording.
Yes. I sit down, I hit play, and then I'm like, let's get ready.
Low key, I just started 9 to 5, and that's kind of how it goes.
Yes.
Literally wake up, sit down, get there. Now, then start waking up, you know.
Yeah. So, by the way, do you want to talk about that at all before we get cooking at all? You have a job.
I do have a new job, but I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about.
Oh.
I work for the CIA. Period.
True.
In the drag division, babe.
So, we have, on this podcast, we have... I personally brought a couple segments. One that I know would be fun to save for the end.
Perfect.
One that I think could be either or. And then we're also going to just talk about the kind of highs and lows of the movies we've watched. We each made a list of things that we think are like must talk about.
Yeah.
Do we want to just go straight into the movies?
Let's just dive into it. Segment number 1.
Uh-huh.
The highlights. Sound effect, you know, kind of thing, like a sound effect maybe there.
Yeah, I think so.
I definitely, I think we'll do that for episode 101.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Zoe 101, the movie for episode 101.
Oh, shit.
Are you going to do that?
Nope.
Okay. Did you ever watch Zoe 101?
My sister did, and sometimes I was nearby.
You liked it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right. So, let me just see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I wrote 9 specific movie highlights. Both include like benchmark must knows if you're a Critical Darlingz fan, but then also some of my personal favorites as well.
Mm-hmm. I wrote, if I'm counting correctly, I was a bit more generous with this. These are not all things that I think we have to go into great depth about, but just things that I think should be touched on. I wrote 19 down.
That's great. I love it.
Again, these are just broad strokes, just because I think they deserve a mention.
Yeah, for sure.
I know what my first one is, and Max, I assume it might be your first as well.
Let's say it at the same time.
3,
2,
1. Cats. It was our first episode.
So Cats.
Yeah.
No, that's your like a classic.
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah.
And trust me, G-Force is on that list.
Yeah.
But I figured it might be smart to start with our very first episode.
I like that.
If you listen to the episode itself, which I wouldn't if I were you, it's still very much getting our footing, but we decided to start our bad movie podcast off by watching just what was known at the time to be a very, very bad movie.
Yeah.
In the public eye, very much.
Exactly. I think it was a very wise move for us to start with something everyone knew, everyone was aware of, so that you wouldn't have to do the heavy lifting of getting to know the movie because you get to know us. Mm-hmm. You know, I went by a different name at the time. At
the time we were, I think we were uploading as Skip Ahead. But we definitely introduced ourselves as the Movie Morgue Podcast. A podcast whose name was already taken.
Yes.
So we moved on from that.
Yeah. But we recorded that in the old apartment in San Marcos. 2
living situations ago, which is crazy to think about.
Wow.
Up in my bedroom and we can say it now, U Club, which is also not even the name of that complex anymore.
Yeah.
At U Club, back when we lived in San Marcos.
Oh my God.
And were college students.
That's crazy. Yeah, that was not even like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, because I think we...
Might be longer than 2. I think
because we started
fully longer than 2 years ago.
Recorded, it was 2021 was the first episode.
Yeah. We were at AGO for roughly 2 years. Our last complex.
Holy shit! Oh, you're right.
We've been doing this for a long time. Long time.
That's insane. And like we've definitely skipped some weeks and pushed things around. Especially as
for
time
sure.
But like basically like once a week for 2 years. That's crazy. Yeah. I guess 100 episodes is
especially for the first like 10 episodes.
Yeah.
It was like every other month that we got an episode out.
Yeah.
But then we started to get like really cooking and going.
Yeah. That actually blows my mind right now.
Yeah.
2 years ago. So about 2.5 years ago, where do you even think that you would be, and where did you think this podcast would be? You know, at this time.
I don't know. I think because we had started another podcast before. I know that we both we just enjoy talking to each other.
Yeah, love talking.
And we're comedians and funny people. So we tried to do a podcast before with another good friend of ours, and we got, I think, 11 or 12 episodes into that one, and it kind of stopped happening.
It's also COVID.
Yes, COVID was a pretty big factor in that. And so then finally we were like, hey, let's do this movie podcast. And I wasn't sure if screen's freezing up again. I just want to make we're good. We're so good. And so I wasn't sure, like I didn't know how far in we'd make it. Here at 100 episodes with no plans to stop, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Now I drop shit. This episode's a fucking disaster. But I agree. Like I don't stay with a certain project as long as I have with this one. I think it's easier because there's two of us. I really am very happy that we're at 100. I did not see us getting there, but I guess I just didn't even really think about it. Like I wanted to get here for sure, and now we damn are.
Yeah,
life is so different. We live in a house.
Sure, we live in a house, which is crazy. I certainly didn't think I'd be living in a house.
Not
I
at all.
Fucking tell you
not
that
at
much.
All. I knew I would be like on stages, but I didn't know if. I definitely hoped it would be like this, but I didn't even know I was going to start doing drag. So that's crazy. Wow. This podcast predates Sir Maxim. That's crazy.
Yeah. And moving along, there was one movie that I had in between our start and G-Force that I did want to bring up.
What is it?
That would be Ma.
Ma is before G-Force, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. I think it was. I think it might have been the episode before.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Tusk was the episode before. I think Ma was immediately before that.
Yeah, yeah. God, Ma.
Ma, I believe we watched Ma at our old apartment and then recorded the episode at just our old apartment.
Yeah, because it was my birthday.
Yeah.
When we watched it. Mm-hmm. And then, I remember Kendra being like, you probably shouldn't watch that movie on your birthday because it's really disturbing.
It really is.
It was the part where she was like painting that one kid white was pretty disturbing. Otherwise,
sure.
Otherwise it wasn't like, it was pretty funny. I still quote, "Don't make me drink alone. Don't make me drink alone."
Ma is kind of a girl boss.
Whenever she like held that naked teenager at gunpoint, girl boss.
Yeah,
that 100%. was very that. That was very that.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up as well. I think it is probably our first good episode of the podcast. We had a lot of fun on that one.
Yeah, a lot of.
And I think we were also kind of like, okay, this is how we enjoy talking about these movies.
Yeah, and then we made up the. we made up the sequels Ma 2, Mo Ma, Grandma, where Ma just keeps coming back, where Ma is listening to this podcast and kills us because we gave her a bad review.
Yeah.
Octavia Spencer, literally, you could just tell, like, she just berated someone until they gave her that role because she's always just played, like, supporting actress roles, but she's like, I want a movie where I'm the lead and I kill people and I kill Alice and Janie. Yeah.
And she did great.
Amazing.
She really gave it her all. It was awesome.
Yeah. Oh my God. I watched Ma and Octavia Spencer, who plays Ma. She gave everything.
True.
Like
yeah. Period. And up next, I think we got to talk about G-Force.
So this is kind of like the moment I think our podcast got fucking real.
Yes.
It's okay, and we'll mention this later, of course. Other podcasts that we made, other episodes that we did, and I made some social media posts with them, they went viral, and that got us some good traction and stuff. But G-Force, I think maybe I should kind of revive it a little bit more. Well, there was the one of the G-Force that went viral, but regardless, I really do think that G-Force as a movie alone is so much wasted potential because it deserves to be a fucking franchise.
Yeah. We're talking about movies that we watched expecting them to be bad and were good. G-Force, we were expecting to be bad, and it like blew our fucking minds.
G-Force was like the first movie on this podcast where we were like, no fucking way. Like we could actually be changing the cultural zeitgeist with this podcast.
Yes.
Like, because if you ask most people, they're gonna think G-Force is not good. But seriously, but when I posted that TikTok with all the G-Force characters, and it was like act like a they them, talk like a she her, something like that. people in the comments were like, hey, I remember this movie. Oh my God, this movie. Yeah, this movie.
Yeah.
There are hungry people wanting to see GeForce content. I'm saying GeForce sequel TV show, animated TV show, Clone Wars-esque animated TV show, 2D animated TV show, comic books, more video games, because we have that one video game. But it's not that. It's like, it's nothing basically. Although there is a different ending. Remember in the video game ending that you kill Speckles or whatever?
Yeah. I think it's because when we watched this, we went into a long tirade where me and Max were devising with ourselves what the G-Force universe would be.
Exactly.
We got to the end of it, and by the time we were done, we were like howling with laughter. There were moments where we had genuine like goosebumps.
Yeah.
Where we were like, "Oh my God, he wouldn't do that." Right?
Yeah, but then you were like, no. Then Blaster comes in, and we were like, no fucking way. Yeah,
we forgot about fucking
I have chills talking about it right now. I seriously have chills.
Genuinely, that was so much fun. We have you made the video where you kind of like compiled that moment.
Yeah.
It was very fun. We got to the end of it, and we could hear laughter from outside of our door, where we opened the door on the podcast and found that our roommate at the time, and still today, Hayden Hovsepian, was sat he parked a chair outside of my bedroom door to listen to us record. And
he was like crying with laughter, and we all started laughing. And then at the very end of you talking about GeForce for like 15 minutes straight, like on this long tirade, you asked the iconic question, do you think any woman will ever fuck me again? And we cried with laughter. Cried and cried.
Yeah.
So yeah,
little did I know.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
No.
That is an iconic moment in our podcast history, and it had to be mentioned.
Yeah, it was amazing.
What is your next one?
Mine next one.
Mine might. Oh, I actually think mine might be. Okay, what's yours?
My next one is. I think I got the first couple a little bit out of order,
yeah.
But this is another iconic one that I assume is on your list somewhere, but mine might be a little bit out of order. I have Fart, the movie.
Oh my God. I did not put Fart
you did not
on my
put
list.
You did you not want to talk about it?
I must have expelled it from my brain. I completely forgot that we watched that movie.
That's fair.
When I was making this list.
Well, we did watch it.
Yeah, we fucking did.
There were a couple things I wanted to bring up. So I started going through for some segments we'll get back into later. I was going through some episodes to listen to certain parts. The intro to the Fart the Movie episode is the most insane. I think it's one of our longest intros. It took like 3 minutes and 30 seconds because it's me giving a like dissertation about Dadaism while I'm playing fart sound effects from a soundboard.
Oh God.
It was very funny. Sam Pierce brought that movie to us because he had a DVD copy of it that was apparently just at his family's house because they like saw it in a store and were like, "Fart the movie. This is hilarious."
A store. They saw it in a store. Guys, I know this is going to be really, really hard for the majority of people listening to this podcast to understand how off the grid this movie is. You can find it on YouTube, but other than that, there's like no coverage about it. No one's talking about it. There's an IMDb page for it, and Kesha is on that IMDb page because she's a child in a sketch. By the way, the movie, not a fucking movie. Very much similar to a clip show or just like a kind of variety sketch show. Horrible, like abysmal. There is a through line of a plot, so I guess it's a movie.
Kind of,
but it's like. God, it makes me so mad. Like, I can't even believe that we watched that.
It is a slog to get through. It is painful.
Yeah, because it's not even like, oh, come on, did they really go there? It's like there were these long sketches of people doing stand-up about farts.
And you couldn't really hear them very well. Yeah. And this is like on the DVD version. This isn't like a bad copy
This is the one that was sold in a store. This is like the best... And it was like a long 7-minute set of someone bombing on stage, not doing well, that they just had to keep in to, I think, meet the time limit. And it was so abysmal. Like, fucking fuck!
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about with that is we took bets ahead of time as to how many farts we thought would be in the film. Max, do you remember what do you think it was?
I bet that there would be like 40 of them in the movie.
You bet on 60.
Okay.
Do you know how many it was?
I'm ready.
So Sam Pierce bet 112. I bet 130. We were all under when in this movie there were 138 farts.
No. That's not okay. I don't like fart jokes mostly anyway, but it's just a personal thing. I just really don't like them.
Nope, me neither.
But like the whole movie is a fart joke and it's not funny. Even someone who likes fart jokes would not laugh at it because it's not fucking funny. There was one part where he like trapped his girlfriend in like in a room with his farts or something, and she was like trying to. See, I'm laughing against myself. I'm trying to resist. I'm laughing because
terrible movie.
Should not happen. That should not happen.
It shouldn't have been in a movie, and we shouldn't have had to watch it. And Sam Pierce, we're coming for you.
All right, next movie. I don't. This might have been before Fart, but we watched it at the old apartment. It's Repo, the genetic opera.
That was next on my list as well.
Perfect. Okay, yeah. Was that after Fart?
I don't know for sure.
I'm not sure. But Repo, I have a very interesting relationship with because when we watched it, I remember we all kind of didn't like it. It was you and me, and then I think other people were with us. We all kind of like didn't like it. But then like the next day and the day after and the day after, I was kind of like, did I like it? I remember even on the podcast, I was kind of like debating, like I didn't like it, but I enjoyed that it was made. Like I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was good. That was kind of the infancy of where I now my thesis on being a darling, I think, because Repo I definitely think is not like a good movie, but I'm so happy it exists because I had a great time watching it, and like just like I had a great time like letting it sit in my body and think about it, because now I'll go back and like I still rewatch like some of the scenes from it, some of the songs, and I really am happy that it's alive. You know, I'm happy that someone felt like it was important enough to create, even if it was not the best movie ever.
For sure. Yeah. I think that it is, not a great movie. Yeah. However, there's some songs. What's the song?
Zydrate Academy.
Zydrate Academy.
Grave robber. Paris Hilton voice.
And he's talking about addiction.
That's
and
great.
It all goes into a little glass vial.
A little glass vial?
Fantastic. Phenomenal.
Yeah. I learned
some of it terrible.
Yeah. Gay people love that musical. A lot of drag kings knew about that musical at the Austin Drag Festival. Which I thought it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that does not shock me.
Yeah.
What's the start of that song where Paris Hilton and the brothers are coming in? And
I know it's like
shut the fuck up, brother.
Yeah.
But he says something like insane.
Yes, like because there's like the weird brother who's like he's like weird and fucky. Then there's like the one that she's like kind of in a relationship with, right?
Yeah,
then there's her.
I think so.
Amber Sweet is addicted to the knife, right?
Addicted to the knife?
Addicted to the knife.
Yeah.
See, yeah.
It's hard. It is a brain worm.
Then there was one song. I think her name is Maggie, the blind one. I think her name something like that. And she's singing to the girl protagonist. And she's like projecting things with her eyes, and she's like her godmother, and it's so cool. Oh God, chills.
Yep.
Yeah.
This technical issues. We may have to adjust some stuff.
No fucking way.
Hey, that's fine. We should maybe keep going. Next on my list, I don't think we have to talk about this too much, but I had Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
As
classic.
It was a movie. We watched it because we were like, we've heard of this, and it would be funny to do.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being so interesting that we had plans to watch one movie. Our first episode talking about it, we watched the first 6 movies and talked about all of them.
Because they're just so consumable. They're literally just like, they're like chips. You just keep fucking eating them, dude, and they go straight to your fat ass.
Well, hang on.
I spanked Clayton just now.
Yeah, that hurt. It was hard.
Speaking of keeping tallies, I remember we were watching Paranormal Activity, and I was sitting in a chair keeping tallies of how many times I got scared. Clayton got 0 tallies. I got like 14 tallies. And my chair, the back was to a long hallway. And I remember like I had to like turn around at some point and be like, just to make sure there was nothing behind me. For Paranormal Activity that came out in like 2008. It was good though.
They were very fun movies.
Campy, very campy. And like it
when
was just
found
so
footage
easy.
is done well.
Yes, and it wasn't really done well in every movie, but
not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah, they did jump the shark with the ghost dimension. I definitely think.
Yeah, but there was really cool stuff in that still.
When the knife fell at that one time, where the girl walks in and all the kitchen shit is on, like all the fucking cabinets open, and there's the girl who walks in and there's like the
everything's on the ceiling and it falls down.
That's fucking good.
Nutty.
Yeah, and that's one where it's like, isn't it where it's like they turn to the left, turns to the right, turns back to the left, all the shit's up there. That's really fucking cool.
That's so cool.
The one
it was done practically. I don't know how. I forget how. I've watched a video about it, but I don't remember how.
Yeah, the whenever they see the ghost on the Connect, that was so fucking cool.
He just wanted to play a game.
I know. Mr. Jigsaw, call him up maybe, right?
Yeah. So up next for me. What did you have next on your list?
Next up.
He's left.
You do yours. And
I feel like based on your reaction, I know what yours is, and it's also on my list. But up first, just to talk about it because it's kind of a series for Critical Darlings, one that will maybe continue, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Fast and Furious. We've watched 5 of them at this point.
I cannot tell you the names of it. There's
Dominic Toretto.
Dom Toretto. Tyler.
No, the fuck, there's not.
There's Paul
Walker.
Paul Walker.
That's Simon, an actor.
Paul Simon. Fucking. There's Jeanette. No, there's Annabelle.
You're just saying names.
I hope there's like the sister.
Yeah, Mia.
Then there's. So I literally didn't even know that she was in the other movie. When we watched like the 4th or 5th one, I was like, "Who is that?" And you're like, Mia, who's like been in every movie. I was like, "Oh, I don't know."
Who you hate
because she's boring. Like Michelle Rodriguez's character, Rip in Peace in the first one.
Letty.
Letty. I know that she comes back, or I don't even fucking know. But like, she's like cool. She was active. I remember she had a personality. Mia, I feel to me is just a trophy for Paul Walker in the first like all the movies we've seen. I believe. I know she like drives at some point, but it's like crazy.
I think Mia is, especially in the first movie. Mia, I think, is one of the more interesting characters that has a little bit.
Allergic to
more
lies.
to do.
Fucking, I don't remember. Like, I know that there was like a train heist. They were
True.
There was like a race through the desert.
True.
There was like Dom and Tyler or Paul.
No Tyler. Brian O'Connor.
See.
Yeah.
See.
Yeah. I see. Do you see?
There's also nowhere for me to like relate to anyone in that movie. Like, I guess maybe I felt like I could only relate to Michelle Rodriguez. I don't know why, but like maybe. And so once she died, I was like, oh well, there's like no point in me even watching this. Yeah.
That's how that.
We've seen 5 now.
You're not totally alone in thinking that.
All 5 of them.
People like Letty, of course. I know I do. But yeah, you've only got
7 more to go.
5 more to go, and they'll keep coming forever.
And then the 2 spin-offs, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, 5 more and 1 spin-off.
1 spin-off. Okay. And they'll just keep coming, babe.
But that's all we have to say about Fast and Furious. Other than that was the start, of course, of the F-slur counter.
Oh, the faggot counter. Ding! Put one on the board. This is what when you say that's so gay, this is what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Max, how many did we end up with?
I think 3. I don't think I was updating it accurately enough. I think if I look it up now, it'll just be here I have fag counter in all caps at the top. 1 in Fast and Furious, and then a 2nd and 3rd in another movie. Should I say it?
I think so.
In The Invention of Lying with Ricky Gervais.
Terrible movie.
Which makes sense. Remember, I was even saying that. I was like, I bet there was one in that movie. Was there one more recent? Because this was April 29th.
I think that is the last one. Because we were looking at the ones since then, and they've mostly been kids' movies. I don't think there was one in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer Hunter.
Wait.
Oh.
And there were 7 in Idiocracy.
Oh.
Why?
That just seems like it, right?
Really? God, I don't even know. So I don't know why I have the fag counter 1 for Fast 1.
So 10.
Yeah, 10.
Okay.
Wow.
And Max made reference to this off camera, all from movies that I have recommended. But
it tells you a lot. No, Clayton
enough-
thinks these are bad movies. Clayton thinks these are bad movies.
because I hate them. I'm trying to take a stance against them.
Period.
I'm not like Max.
But no one, you look like Mr. Cheddar there.
Like this. Did you hear he died?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That is fucked up. Who stomped on Mr. Cheddar?
Yeah. Well, did you hear how he died?
No, how?
Yeah, somebody stomped on it. You actually had it. You had it.
God. That's so
They
fucked
stomped on him. They did not step on him. They went wham.
That's awful. Have you ever oh God. I know that Luke has a story about crushing a bug one time and discovering empathy for other living forms. I one time crushed a louse with my eraser end of my pencil, and that made me cry.
Damn.
Yeah. One time I crushed an ant's head with tweezers, and that made me fully. I haven't done anything like that since then. I was 4.
I kept that's a whole thing. We don't have time for that. Let's move on from Fast and Furious. Max, what do you have?
I have McDonald's Problems.
That is what I have as well. Period. Holy shit.
Yeah, so McDonald's Problems was our first web series we watched for this. I don't know if at this point we had already watched the TV pilots, because I think 1 month we did all TV pilots. I think this might have been a little before.
I think this was before.
So McDonald's Problems is a movie that was brought to us by Luke, who had previously brought the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Yes.
So he brought McDonald's Problems because he watched it when he was a kid. Now, what this is that it is a web series completely made through screen recordings of The Sims 2 and voiceovers of 1, 2, or 3 friends who are all clearly 8th graders or in high school or something like that. One of the most offensive things we've ever seen on this podcast.
100% true.
But honestly, one of the most, I think, interesting and unique pieces of media that we watched. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it was really. Here's the thing. You have to judge it from a whole different perspective. It's obviously it's not going to be good, but it was inspiring in a way.
For sure.
Upsetting in probably more ways.
In more ways than one.
I remember sitting there and being on episode, I think there were I had somewhere to be after that episode, or after we watched those, or even after we recorded. And I remember we got to the end, and Luke was like, "Oh, we got to watch the extras," and I was like, "Hey, Luke, no." And he's putting them on, and I was just irate. I was irate that we had watched all of that. I was irate that he was trying to make us watch more of that.
I love it because this version of The Sims 2 is modded by whoever's playing it. So there's it all takes place in a McDonald's, and it opens with a theme song every every episode has this horrible. This is 2007, 2008. This horrible quality carnival theme, and it's dun 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 dun, and it's starring Ronald McDonald, Michael Jackson. Whenever Michael Jackson would come up, it would be even worse version of Thriller, popping up in just the staticky horrible. I don't even remember other characters.
There was The Little Mermaid was there.
Yes, and I'll get back to that.
Yes.
Well, there was just a whole cast of characters, and it was they introduced them every time, and it was just about all of them living and working in this McDonald's that they had built in The Sims 2.
Oh, Mario and Luigi.
Mario and Luigi were there.
Mario was one of the big McDonald's. He was one of the front runners.
Yes, and it.
Ronald McDonald, of course.
Within the game, it was not a functioning McDonald's. It was just a house. I think they had. It was horrible. All of it was just terrible. I don't even remember the plot really. I just remember that Michael Jackson was doing weird things.
Yeah.
And then there was a moment where they went to heaven and like talked to God, and God was King Triton, and he was like, I need someone to go down there. E.T., go get them. And we were all like, what? Did he just wait, what did he say? Did he say E.T.? No, there's no fucking way. And then this horribly fucked up, terrible sim like waddles around the corner doing this like accent. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was
racist, and then it was worse.
Yeah, and then like E.T. was like doing things off screen to people. It was just to a point where we were like crying and like sobbing.
Yeah.
Not from laughter, but just from like pure disbelief that we were watching. Yeah.
Moving forward, I think maybe Max, we should just, because my list is kind of long, and we should start speeding things up a little bit.
Do a blitz.
So yeah, sure. I'll just up next. We don't have to spend too much time on this. I don't think. Wanted to mention it for sure. AI, crazy. That movie ends with
movie.
heaven ghosts who alien ghost heaven situation.
And the third act actually being the way future, not what you think the third act is. Like you think the movie's done. There's actually 40 minutes left. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. After that, I also had Master of Disguise.
Yeah, which won the first Critics' Choice Award.
Winner of the first Critics' Choice Award. Terrible fucking movie. I hate it. It makes me very, very angry.
Yeah, that's horrible. And I was thinking about that the other day, how a main character gets abducted off screen. And we're told about it like through a voiceover.
Yeah. Oh my God. Up next is something that I think we should maybe spend a little bit of time talking about.
Yeah.
Which is disaster movie.
Yeah. So this is big.
Yeah.
This was kind of the era where I know we just talked about McDonald's problems. This is the first like big picture movie that was like teenage boy nonsense that we kind of started to dabble into. We did like some Adam Sandler and stuff. Watching this movie made me feel like I was like lobotomized. Like it was bad.
Yeah, it was. I remember us sitting there. It was like the most painful experience.
Yeah.
That we had ever had with a movie to that point. It was like breaking us down. And there was a point when like the dance battle sequence started.
Oh my God.
That we were both just like we were like genuinely, not even saying this to be funny. We were both genuinely like sad. Because it was just so, it was like such a bad experience.
Oh my God.
And those people should be fucking punished.
Oh my God. Dance battle with Ella Enchanted. And
yes.
I guess it was just like other people.
What you're saying is hurting me right now.
That was like
fuck that movie.
And I remember I recorded it and put it on my story and being like, this movie is shit. And Iggy Bank, my co-host for the Drag Is Right on Sundays at 6 p.m. at Oil Can Harry's, swiped up and said, OMG, I love disaster movie.
Iggy
oh God!
Bank.
Moving on. God.
Yeah. Do you have what's up next on your list? Max?
Alvin and the Slipknots.
Alvin and the Bip Mom.
The Bipknots. I should mention this one. It's another big series that we watched.
Yeah. We're not done yet.
We're not done. We have one more, and then we have plenty of other maybe spin-offs and things like animated specials, things you can watch. But this is a big one because the whole incest, chipmunk sibling, twins.
This is the one where we pissed the internet off.
Yeah, this is when shit got real.
The internet doesn't know what's going on.
This is when like it was welcome to the internet for us. Like welcome to the zeitgeist. You know, we suddenly got there. Clayton went off about how these chipmunks are fucking their clones, their twin sisters. Yeah. Internet had a lot to say about it. But hey, we got a lot of engagement and views, and that is, I think, our second highest episode.
That's true.
Behind Tusk.
It is a beloved
Yeah.
episode. Tusk, another beloved episode. Terrible movie.
I don't know why Tusk is that high. I don't think there was anything special about the episode. I don't know.
It was a good episode. It was our first guest episode.
Yeah. All right.
But
what's next for
Alvin
you?
and the Chipmunks. Next for me, there were a couple on here just to mention them.
Yeah,
I'm going to rapid fire a couple off. Tiptoes, Terrible fucking movie. Terrible movie.
Yeah. Insane.
Minions, the first movie where we went all the way to a theater to watch it. We ended up having a good time.
Having a good time. Not too bad.
This is another movie. This was a guest movie. We watched Clifford, and Max got so...
Oh, God.
You were so upset.
Here we go. So most times where I'm the darling and Clayton is the critic are like... almost every episode is that. I'm the darling. I'm the sweet guy. I say if I had a good time during a bad movie, that's a 10 stars out of me. You know, it's the same. Clayton's like, if you had a good time, but the movie's bad, the movie gets 3 stars, but the experience gets 9 stars. I don't even know what he says. All I know is that I watched Clifford with Clayton and Sam. All of us didn't like it. I hardly even remember it. Martin Short just acting a fucking fool, getting paid for it. You're a 35-year-old fucking man. Stand on your fucking feet, dude. And don't play with toys, you creep. Fucking bowl cut. Badass bitch. Not badass. Bad as in your ass is bad. Not Michael Jackson bad. Not like cool. Period. Then we all thought the movie was bad. I said 3 stars. 3 or 4 stars. Whatever. Clayton and Sam both said 6.
Is that true? Did we say 6?
Yes. You were like, probably a 6. I was like, what? And then they were like, what? Bye, hey, Mr. Cheddar. I said, get out of my podcast. What has happened? Is it fucking opposite
Max
day?
kicks me off the podcast.
Yeah. Is it opposite day? Come on, man.
It was a very bad movie.
Yeah. Next.
Up next, Alvin's Talking Cat.
Oh, God.
That movie was
Bullshit.
crazy.
Yeah. I still follow that guy on Instagram. He's fine. And he's gay. Much respect to you.
The cat?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We also had, of course, Darling December, where we watched 4 good movies.
Yes.
That was cool.
That
Coming
was
up soon. The last thing I had down for our list was Baby Geniuses.
Yeah. So this is another one where
where I was like, this is not a good movie. Clifford, I didn't think was a good movie. I think my reaction was I was just so shocked how much Max hated it. Yeah. I also thought it was bad.
I think we're seeing a recurring theme. Clifford is where Martin Short plays like an annoying kid, and Baby Geniuses, another movie that made me irate.
Like, is about
babies who are geniuses. I don't know what. Maybe I just was having a bad day that day, but I guess if you turn it on right now, I'd be as mad. We were watching it within like 15 minutes of the babies. Like it's like their mouths are moving, but they're obviously not talking. But it's like the babies are acting. And they're like saving the world or something. God, I don't even remember what that movie's about. It just made me pissed off to see them like babies don't do that. They're not doing that. They're not actually acting. It's essentially, I guess you could say the same about like Air Bud, where like animals are doing things in post. People are like, he's acting, you know, but he's not. He's just like walking around. The babies like don't know what they're doing, and I don't want to just watch like footage of babies just walking around. It pissed me off.
Yeah.
I'm just mad. I'm mad about it.
It was a bad movie. Do you have any more on your list, Max?
I do. 2 good ones, Contact and Speed Racer. Really love that.
Fantastic movies.
And lastly, for me, Robot Monster and The Horror of Party Beach. These are both like kind of 50s. I think Party Beach is like 63. Both like campy, black and white, bad horror movies of the past. So good. So good. Especially Party Beach is like trying to be not a parody, but it's like trying to be like it's a beach movie, but people die. Like it's intense, but it does that like so badly that it's like it's funny because it's like a failed parody. And Robot Monster is just atrocious. Like it's just a disaster.
We were talking about this the other day. A 6-year-old girl gets strangled to death on screen by a guy in a gorilla costume pretending to be an alien.
The Hays Code said gay people cannot be shown in a good light, but a man in a gorilla suit wearing an astronaut helmet can strangle a 6-year-old girl on camera, and they turn the other way.
Yeah.
God, those are so good, and they kind of sparked my love for. It's almost halfway through October. I need to watch like more movies like that.
Yeah.
I really love those style movies. Yeah. I really do.
So Max,
let's move on.
With that is us going through the movies that we've watched. I had 2 little segments that I wanted to do.
We won't stretch them out too long, although we just love talking.
Yeah,
we just love to talk, babe.
We'll wrap this up pretty quick here.
Don't you worry.
First segment that I wanted to get through. We have had on this podcast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total guests.
Wow, only 10%.
10? But each of these guests, we asked a very specific question. I'm going to go through them all, and we'll tally them up and see what the numbers say.
Yeah.
Max, you are obviously a darling.
Period.
Clayton, myself, here, I am a critic.
Yeah.
We cancel each other out.
Yeah, so that's it.
Null and void. Hayden Hovsepian, our first guest, he came on. I was listening through, and I found out something that I didn't know.
Okay.
Hayden Hovsepian was the first person to ask the question to us, which one of you is a critic and which one of you is the darling? Who brings the critic, who brings the darling?
Oh, yeah.
I
would
assume
ask
that came from us, but that whole part of the whole dichotomy of that was created in the Tusk episode by Hayden Hovsepian.
That's why it's the highest
Who
episode,
is a registered
darling. Yes, he's what, a triple Cancer, right? His signs are like Cancer or something like that. He's a darling. He likes to feel good. He likes to be happy. He likes to chill. He likes to get high, play guitar. He likes to eat hot chip and lie.
That's true.
All right, next,
Alex Pittner.
That's a darling, babe.
That started as a darling. Alex Pittner, I want to say also, Hayden Hovsepian, I did some numbers here just to make sure. Hayden Hovsepian is a 2-time guest of the podcast. He was on the Tusk episode, and then later he filled in for me on the Pest episode.
God.
Alex Pittner was on 3 times. First for Yes Man, then for Now You See Me, and finally for the Angry Birds movie. We had such a blast with him.
That's right.
He was our first 3-time guest. I think he was our first 2-time guest as well. We had such a blast recording with him. We love that guy. First episode, he was a darling. The second 2 episodes, I believe, he had a heel turn and was a critic.
I remember he betrayed us. Oh, God.
Up next, Sam Pierce.
I feel like he
of course, was on Fart the Movie.
So keep that in mind.
Yes.
I want to say darling?
He was a critic. Everybody's a critic. Up next, of course, Jill Maxwell, who came on. It was very funny. I was listening to her segment. She came on for Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And she labeled herself a critic, to which I immediately said, I think that's our first critic, because we had Hayden Hovsepian and Alex Pittner on the podcast, and those are our only 2 guests so far. We've talked about this with Sam. I just think it's funny.
Yeah. Drop the fucking mic.
Up next is our only other 3-time guest, Luke Gasky. Critic. Who is, of course, big-ass critic.
He is the only critic that I feel I feel like I'm against him. Yeah, because you know how in every army there's the army general's get that soldier. That one's a bad one, you know.
True.
Luke is like your number one honcho on the critic side. I think. I don't like him when I see him on the battlefield. Yeah. I love him though.
That's true. Kendra Steele, our next guest, came on for AI.
I think
First, real quick, Luke was on for McDonald's Problems, Rubber, and the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Kendra Steele came on for
Rubber,
AI, and was, of course,
a darling.
Yeah,
because God, I need to get on her level. She watches everything, and she just always has something to say about it. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Up next was, of course, another card-carrying critic, Mr. Hayden Hartrick, who came on twice.
Yeah.
First for The Master of Disguise.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Hayden.
Yep.
And then for Dragon Ball Evolution. That one was my fault.
Yes. I remember that we were coming home from watching In the Heights in the theaters, and if this dispels any questions over whether Hayden's a darling or a critic, I remember asked him if he liked it, and he was like, and we were all like, that was good, that was fun, yeah, that was really fun, I liked it. And he was like, it was obviously it was good, but maybe, and you two started to kind of debate about it, not angrily, but talk about it, and I was like, we just saw it, we're just riding the high.
Up next, Josh Gordon, who came on for The Cat in the Hat.
Yep, darling.
Up next, The Nightmare, a.k.a. Lana.
Darling. Yeah, she's my darling.
Yes.
Love you.
She came on, of course, for American Psycho 2. And then coming on for a great movie, Speed Racer, Lucas Bradinini, who is
a darling. Yes. This is when our rank started to come up.
Yes, the critics were we had it for a while. So let's just go through some numbers.
Yeah.
On the darling side, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, including me. No. 5 guests.
5 guests. Hold on.
Yes.
Am I counting this right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, that's 5 including me.
That is 5 not including you. We have 5 not including you.
Oh.
And 5. This is not what I got when I did it the first time, but I'm realizing I miscounted earlier. There was a miscount.
Okay, let's do it. Hayden.
Yeah, so I've got the list right here, and I'm looking at it. Alex, of course, after turning critic, made it so that our numbers, if we just have it by the guests themselves, we've had 5 critics and 5 darlings.
I didn't think we were going to be even.
Yeah, that is quite interesting.
And that was the last guest?
Lucas Bradinini was the last guest.
Wow, a year ago. It was New Year's.
Yeah. Another thing I did, we had, I did by the episode, Alex turning in 1, of course, darling episode and 2 critic episodes.
Yeah.
Puts us at 8 darling episodes and 9 critic episodes for our guests. But it is still neck and neck. It's still anybody's game.
Our ranks are even. The darlings stay hopeful and jovial. I mean, we always do. We always have a good time. But the critics are undying in their anger and their seemingly inexhaustible hatred of things that are fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next game.
The next segment, Max. This is the last segment I have, and then we'll find out what movie we're doing.
I'm excited.
Also, if we don't do the rest of this in 10 minutes, my computer's going to explode.
Really?
Max. That's
fine.
That'll be easy. This will not take too long.
That's fine.
Max, if you had to guess, going into your heart of hearts and your head of heads, how much money have we spent over these 100 episodes on watching movies? How much money?
Wow. Does this include the Pure Flix?
This includes the Pure Flix debacle, which I will break down the numbers there as well.
Yeah. Don't you worry. We will crunch everything,
Yeah.
honey. I think we've spent. Is it Price is Right rules? Or no, just be generous with me. You know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say $500.
$500. So we have, by my estimation, I may be a little bit off. I went through. I found a website that lets you see what was available where and when.
Okay.
So I went by and saw what was available on streaming services at the time for movies that I wasn't sure of. There were some where I was like, I'm pretty sure we've got this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these numbers may be a little bit off just based off of faulty estimations on my part, but we watched 45 movies. That we had to rent offline. There was also
on YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah.
I found the standard price for that and just multiplied that by 45.
Perfect. Yeah.
I then added to that for Pure Flix. I of course got a free trial for Pure Flix, and then
to watch For God's Not Dead 2, the second movie we watched.
I forgot to cancel it. Pure Flix subscriptions, I believe, were $14 when I started, and then ramped up to $18
a month.
And I forgot about that for roughly a year. I did the math back then. I don't remember exactly how long, but I know it worked out to $136.
Okay. I thought it was like 300 something for some reason.
Not 300, okay, not quite.
Okay. Then I was way off. But
$136 plus the Minions movie tickets,
classic,
which works out to an average of $24 and something cents.
Yep.
But adding that all together, we have spent an estimate of $355 over these 100 episodes watching bad movies.
Where did it all go?
I know.
Where did it go?
It doesn't feel good to say.
That is bad. Oh my God. 100 for both of us, that's like $170 each. Like,
yeah.
Over the
That
course
is
of 100
that's a lot of money. To be fair, $136 of that came out of my bank account without my wanting. So you know.
So wait, okay, let's just see.
300. I don't what math. What's the math?
So that's like about $1 a day. Wait, there's no way.
Well, 300. If we had been doing it for 1 year. So I mean, it's pretty close to 50 cents a day.
Yeah, it's like Gerber Baby. It basically is. Don't
Hey
even
baby,
get it
it's like
twisted.
Gerber.
That's horrible to hear. That's bad.
That's rough.
Babe.
That's rough.
But how much have we made in revenue?
Moving on. Up next, Max.
Yeah.
It is finally time. We've got 6 minutes.
Perfect. All right.
It is finally time for you to hear what movie we will be watching
Perfect.
next on
If
this
you're
podcast.
Brand new. For some reason, you didn't understand. We ambush each other.
Confusing episode.
Yeah,
so.
I'm scared. We ambush each other every single year almost. Every week with a movie that the other person is going to watch. So I don't know what movie we're about to watch.
But I do.
Clayton's going to watch it. But we're both going to watch it. But he's going to, and then I'm going to suggest the next one.
Yes.
God, I have to pee really bad.
Max, I warned you that this was going to be a
Shiver.
good movie, that this was going to be like, this is exactly what we need, right?
Yeah.
This is,
Okay.
we are about to make a little bit of Critical Darling's history.
I'm so excited.
We're going to do something that we have never done before on this podcast.
What? You're going to see a play?
I texted about 20 minutes before this episode. I texted somebody. I texted Sam Pierce and I said, "Hey Sam,
Yeah.
would you like to come on the Critical Darlings podcast and watch with us again, Fart the movie?" To which he said, "I would be delighted." We are going to be doing the first Critical Darlings rewatch of F-A-R-T. They've got periods in them. Fart the movie. Starring Kesha, starring 138 farts. We are going to be rewatching that and then coming on this podcast to talk to you about it. Max, can you believe it? Are you excited, bud? Fart the movie.
You couldn't have picked any other movie. Like,
That's exactly why I picked this
please,
movie.
God.
It's 100 episodes, Max. It's what we're here for.
We don't even have as many episodes as there are farts in the movie.
That's true. Honestly, for our 138th episode,
So
we should
bad.
do something special.
Watch us like love it. Watch us fucking love this movie.
Maybe
Watch
we
us,
come
watch
around
it
on
and
it
be
this
like,
time.
Or like,
I think we didn't get it.
oh, I get it. It's something you get when you're older. By the way, the average age of the actor in this was like 30. Like they were adults.
Yeah.
God. This is
God.
Oh my God. I can see the opening right now where he's pulling up in the fucking bus and the girlfriend's there and he like falls asleep in the TV and there's the stand up and there's the game show.
I made us do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. But I think we have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do
This
it.
is like Lost.
All
We
right.
have to go back.
Yeah, we
and
have
Max,
to go back.
You don't get that yet. But in Lost, they have to
I have
go
to go
back.
back to the island because they're off it. Because they can see in the future, babe. Yeah, I watched it. I think I stopped like right at that part. But
Okay, he made it that far, folks. He made it that far.
I gotta pee. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here, guys. I've been Clayton Gelman.
And I have been Sir Maxim, the Eclectic Drag King. You can find me everywhere in Austin. Saturdays at 7, Sundays at 6, both at Oil Can Harry's on 4th Street. Make sure you go check it out.
Yeah.
Amazing drag, incredible stuff. Love yourself, love each other, stay hydrated, and fuck around and find out.
And give us a 5-star review. And as always, stay critical,
critical, darlings.
darlings.
Bye.
Bye.